Canada, famous for its delicious maple syrup and as the homeland of nearly all the greatest hockey players in history. It's the second largest country on Earth. With roughly 2 million lakes, it holds over 50% of the world's freshwater lakes. For thousands of years, this land was inhabited by resilient indigenous tribes who endured harsh, long winters, thriving and cultivating distinct cultures. The first confirmed non-native settlers in Canada and the broader New World were the Vikings, who established a settlement in Newfoundland around 1000 AD. It's unclear how long this settlement lasted, whether others existed, or if it was eventually abandoned, raided, or its people succumbed to disease or assimilation. Theories remain. Nearly 500 years later, in 1497, Italian explorer Giovanni Caboto John Cabot became the first European to explore North America's coast, claiming it for England. Soon after, the Spanish and Portuguese did the same. Though only temporary fishing outposts were built until the French arrived. Jacques Cartier claimed the land for France in 1534, naming the Gulf and river after St. Lawrence's feast day, the date of his arrival. The French called the surrounding territory Canada, derived from a local word for settlement. After several failed colonization attempts due to starvation and disease, Quebec and Port Royal were successfully founded. By 1670, English colonies to the south had expanded, with new settlements appearing in Newfoundland and south of Hudson Bay. The fur trade, especially in beaver pelts, became highly profitable as demand surged in Europe for hats and luxury winter wear. This spurred further settlement by English and French. Trappers seeking fortune, the French and English did not coexist peacefully. During the prolonged beaver wars, the French briefly seized much of the Hudson Bay region. Not just Europeans profited. The Iroquois Confederacy, armed with European guns, allied first with Dutch traders, then the English, aggressively attacking the French and neighboring tribes to control the fur trade. Many tribes allied with the French to resist Iroquois expansion. After 72 years of conflict and heavy indigenous casualties, peace was reached with little territorial change. New France consisted of several colonies, with Canada and Louisiana being the largest, alongside smaller regions like Acadia. The British gained Acadia in the 1713 Treaty of Utrecht, part of a complex agreement tied to the War of Spanish Succession. France recognized the Hudson's Bay Company's claim to Rupert's Land. Interestingly, the company still exists today, mostly as a retail chain, despite their vast territory. The French were vastly outnumbered by the British, with a 1-0-1 disparity by the time of the next major conflict, the 7 Years' War, or French and Indian War. French-speaking Acadians were expelled, some forming the basis of Louisiana's Cajun population. Both empires sent troops, supported by militias and indigenous allies. The outnumbered French relied heavily on indigenous allies, initially holding their own until the British captured Quebec and Montreal. Though the French later won a battle, they couldn't retake Quebec. In the ensuing treaty, France ceded Canada to Britain and gave Louisiana to Spain. Much of North America's interior remained sparsely populated, with indigenous tribes devastated by war and disease. A decade later, the American colonies rebelled against Britain, but failed to take Quebec, which stayed loyal. Post-war, many British loyalists migrated north. The War of 1812 saw failed invasions by both sides, ending in a stalemate. Subsequent treaties formalized the U.S.-Canada border, despite some Canadians' reluctance to join the U.S. movements. For self-rule grew, leading to the 1837-38 rebellions, though crushed, including the short-lived Republic of Canada under William Lyon Mackenzie. Public support forced British concessions. The 1840 Act of Union merged Upper and Lower Canada, granting greater self-governance. In 1846, the Oregon Territory was peacefully split, with Vancouver Island going to Canada. The 19th century saw a logging boom, driving immigration and replacing the fur trade as Canada's top industry. The 1867 British North America Act, a Constitution Act, established Canada as a self-governing democracy, with Ottawa as its capital. Out west, Hudson's Bay Company sold Rupert's Land to Canada. Métis mixed French indigenous people. In Manitoba, fearing land loss, rebelled under Louis Riel. After a standoff and federal intervention, some demands were met. Riel led another rebellion in 1885, resulting in his execution, deepening divisions between English, Indigenous, and Indigenous groups. The partially built Transcontinental Railroad, crucial in suppressing the rebellion, gained political support. It was completed in just 4 years. The 1890s Klondike Gold Rush drew over 100,000 prospectors to the Yukon Few, struck it rich. After decades of slow growth due to U.S. emigration, Canada's population surged in the early 20th century. In World War I, Canada, still a British Dominion, sent 620,000 troops. 67,000 died, and 173,000 were wounded. The staggering losses fueled nationalism, leading to the 1931 Statute of Westminster, granting Canada equal status with Britain. The Great Depression hit Canada hard with 25% unemployment. In World War II, 1.1 million Canadians served, suffering nearly 100,000 casualties. Newfoundland joined Canada in 1949, and in 1965, Canada adopted its current flag with other proposed designs. Considered comment, your favorite. The 1982 Canada Act, ratified by the Queen, let Canada create its own constitution, ending British parliamentary influence while retaining the monarchy ceremonially. Today, Canada has 36 million people, 20% French-speaking, and the world's 10th largest economy. Quebec, with its strong French heritage, has held 2 independence referendums. The 1995 vote nearly passed, and secession remains a debate. This has been Epimetheus. Comment your favorite Canadian province to visit or live in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. Your help keeps this content coming. Thanks for watching. Till the end.